Hi guys, Chamion here. I hope all is well. I am fixing or preparing to make a cauliflower gratin today. I am using the florets of a medium-sized cauliflower, right? I have some coarse sea salt and I have a pot of water already going for my cauliflower florets to be somewhat pre-cooked. Not too much, right? Because we want it to maintain its texture. Right, so this is the first step to the cauliflower gratin. Okay, so we're just going to add some salt, coarse sea salt, followed by the cauliflower florets. Right, and then we're going to just watch and see how it goes from there. It's already changing color, getting that bright, nice color that cauliflower is known for. The cauliflower was washed and so forth beforehand, right? I'm not doing a big gratin, so I don't want plenty, right? So you keep watching and you're going to see how it all comes together. It's not hard at all, right? So about here is what you want the cauliflower florets to cut to, right? And then you're going to take it off, cool it, and we're going to get it prepared for the gratin and for baking. Okay, so you follow that at all, that's what you're looking for. So guys, this is the full setup for the cauliflower gratin, right? This is some butter. We won't be using all of this because it's a small cauliflower. We need 2 tablespoons of butter, followed by 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. I will need some milk, some fresh nutmeg, right? Which is that already grated it. We have some breadcrumbs in my vintage cans. This is evaporated milk if you want to know. I prefer it for baking and so forth, and batters. And this is some grated Parmesan cheese. Usually, cauliflower gratin calls for brie, right? Or brie. The cheese name brie, but I'm using local cheddar, right? Because you know those cheese are not really readily available here, and I just prefer cheddar. I like the flavor, it is very mild. I like how it behaves when it's baked and so forth and so forth. So I'm gonna start now, right? You all know I like to keep things simple for you all, and I don't want anybody to have to go out and look for specialty cheeses and so forth, because we could get away a little bit with cheddar, because it isn't like a cake or so, a pastry. We could improvise and use local cheddar. If you're a vegetarian, you might want to look for the rennet-free cheddar. It's all on you, right? Or if you're cooking for vegetarians. So I'm going to start by using my 2 tablespoons of butter. I already have a pot heating. So there's the 2, right? Of course I was watching it, so I'm measuring it by looking at it, right? So just want the butter to melt a little bit. I'm getting ready to add my 2 tablespoons of flour. You can use a wooden spoon also. Let me give this tip: if you're a person and you own a lot of non-stick wares and so forth, cooking ware, pots and pans and baking utensils, do not use metal objects in your pot. Look for the spatulas or wooden spoons, right? So I'm just only using this to put in my 2 tablespoons of flour into my butter. Right? So just make sure the pot is coated, the bottom of the pot. With these non-stick wares, it's going to keep going back. It's okay, right? 1, 2. I guess that's just like to take the meat off, yeah? And you stir it vigorously. Some of us know about this. We call this like a roux cake. I'm going to add the milk at this stage. It smells just lovely. So I'm going to add my evaporated milk, right? And then I'm going to get my cauliflower in there. I'm going to use my whisk. I'm going to use a whisk. Just be careful, right? Because remember, it's non-stick ways that we are speaking about. The whisk is messed up. you want it incorporated, but you want to be careful. You see it's already melting away, the flour. Just be careful because a lot of times these non-stick wares, they are not easy to get and the cost and all is a bit much. You see how thick it is already, so that's the purpose of it, because remember it's not like pasta, it's cauliflower and you want it nice with the bake in time and things like that, right? So I'm gonna add the cauliflower at this stage, right? Once the cauliflower is added, I'm gonna turn off the fire to add the cheeses and so forth. Usually I make a cheese sauce for my recipes, but I'm just following through with step by step. I'm gonna add some salt and freshly ground black pepper to this. Salt and freshly ground black pepper, followed by my nutmeg. Not too much of salt because we are using Parmesan cheese have salt, as you know. We are using so at this stage, remember my fire is off, right? I showed you all how to start at the very beginning of the demo, how to start with this, right? I showed you. I'm just going to use a couple turns on a black pepper grinder. This recipe is better with freshly ground pepper, right? I'm going to add my nutmeg at this stage. I want nice intense flavor in there. It's a freshly grated nutmeg. And now I'm gonna just put in my cheese and my cheddar, followed by my Parmesan. You want to reserve some for, it is hot so it will do some melting away. You want to reserve some for topping, okay? I know in our other demo you guys saw me do the cheese sauce and you all know I love it, but I'm just following through with the steps for the gratin the right way, right? That's all I'm doing. I'm just following through. It's melting in any event, right? So we don't have anything to really fuss and worry about. The Parmesan, I don't know, I'm going to show you guys the texture of it. It's almost like powder when it's grated. Right, so we don't have to worry about that not melting whatsoever because that is like real powder in there. That's the way it comes once it's store-bought grated Parmesan. You will hardly get the wedges and so forth over here to buy. I know of places, but you will have to do your research or comment below and I will tell you where you can get it to buy, okay? It might look dry, but it isn't. Remember, we use how much milk? That was a good bit of milk. You don't want to boil or pre-cook your cauliflower to the extent where it's mushy. You want it maintaining its texture because we're going to have some more cooking once we hit the oven, right? I will not put any more liquid on this because when you are doing any pie and you add too much liquid, what happens is you have to wait a long time for it to cool. So I'm just going to move everything over to my counter to get my baking dish buttered, right? And top it up with the breadcrumbs and the cheese. I'm going to use the 2 cheese to top it. It's a small gratin, so I'm not using a big can, okay? A big baking dish, okay? You all know I love Parm, right? Just make sure you give it a good coat. You don't want to have your lovely gratin sticking up in your baking, whatever you used to bake it in your baking pan. Right? If you want and you want it, you have the time, you can do it with a little more milk. I can't tell you how much to do. This is going to serve 4 persons as a side dish. If you want to focus, even if you're not doing other side things, it will still serve 4, right? So cut it in half, then you cut it in quarters when that time reach, right? So I'm going to top it now with the cheeses. I'll start by adding the cheddar, since it's the bigger of the cheese, and then I'll put the Parmesan on top. Remember, cheddar, the Parmesan is almost like it isn't there once it hit because it's of a powdered consistency, right? You just want to make sure it even. So let me just make sure my corners, because however you put in a pie, once it bakes, it goes without saying it's going to maintain that form, right? So we're going to add the cheddar now. And yes, I'm wearing a food safe glove. In case you might be wondering why my hands is looking like that, it's just because I'm wearing a food safe gloves. Yeah. And I'm going to add the Parmesan, the grated Parmesan at the top, because remember I said it's like a powder, followed by the Italian breadcrumbs. Italian breadcrumbs is more or less seasoned breadcrumbs. Right? So you're going to see me adding the Parmesan, the rest of the Parmesan. I will say in total, it was about 3/4 cups of Parmesan that I used. When you with it, you'll have to wake it back up a little bit, so to speak, the Parmesan, because what happens is that it sticks together because it's so much like a powder. Once the air hits it, you end up with it sticking down together. That's just what it does. Any powder thing, when you put it on, it's open and air hits it, it's going to do that. If you do that with sugar and so forth, you have the same issue. Salt also. Right? So I can imagine the lovely cheesy flavor we are going to have with it. I can imagine. We're going to put it down to bake. We're going to put some of the breadcrumbs on it. So it's Italian breadcrumbs that I'm using. It's in my vintage shaker. So if you are wondering, that's what it is. It's not a brand of breadcrumbs, it's just in my vintage shaker. I'm gonna put a good serving of the sprinkling of the breadcrumbs onto it, because you want that crust. That's what made the gratin a gratin in the first place. Right? You're gonna put a good bit of it, not too much. We don't ever want to overdo anything, but we want to have a nice amount of it on there. Also with the seasoned breadcrumbs or the Italian breadcrumbs, it have like parsley and so forth in it, so you see it coming through all the time, right? So here is where I want to leave it and get it down into the oven to bake. I always tell you all, I want to say again, I want to reiterate, right, that I can't tell you all how long to bake anything. That depends on the make and model of your oven and how your oven behaves, right? So you will have to wait to suit. But I'll say put it on medium heat and keep monitoring it. You can't just put things in the oven and forget it. You always have to be around to keep looking at it. So guys, there you have it, my cauliflower gratin, right? I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys saw how easy it was to put it together. There is such a big name to it, and it's quite easy to do, right? For questions or comments, you all know how I can be reached, right? You know we are all over social media, so you all know how you can connect with me apart from the channel here. You all know we are on Instagram and all these different things. If you comment, I will reply in a timely manner, I guarantee you that. And if you have any suggestions on things you want to see me do, feel free to comment below, and once I can do it, I will. Right guys? So you all will see the final product of this cauliflower gratin. You're going to see the gorgeousness, the loveliness that we're going to have once it's baked to golden perfection. Right? So guys, it is this easy. Please don't be intimidated by food. I tell you that, you guys, that all the time, and I mean it. I want you all to learn and to be able to do stuff and not be intimidated whatsoever, right? So guys, this is the final product of our cauliflower gratin, right? I'm just going to cut it for you all to see. Before cutting it, allow it to cool right down, please. Want to make sure it is in equal parts. So before you cut it, or any pie like corn pie and shepherd's pie and potato pie and thing like that, give it about an hour at the very least to cool down, okay? Because this is, it was cooled before I cut it, even before serving, because then you can't slice it, you will have to scoop it, right? And always use the correct tools. This is what I'm going to use to lift it out. Spatula. I'm going to show you guys the texture of it. So for creamy consistency on the inside, it isn't raw, no eggs was used. Remember, when you're talking gratin and things like that, you're talking that creamy, nice, rich, comforting sort of taste on the inside of it. Okay, so this is the texture of that cauliflower gratin. It's perfect. It was well executed, if you ask me. If any one of you try it, let me know how it turns out. Okay, so guys, there it is from start to finish, our cauliflower gratin, right? I'm just going to garnish with a bit of parsley. You all know I love garnish. It just adds to how food looks, right? The business, we are on YouTube, of course. Some of you will be viewing this this video on YouTube. We are on YouTube. We are on Instagram. I am on Facebook, right? All under the name Food by Chamion. You can follow me on Instagram. It's not a private page. On Facebook, it's public the same way. And on YouTube, my channel, of course, it is public, right? You can feel free to share and like and comment and all of that. The email address, if you want to come into direct contact with me, is Food by Chamion, all common letters. My name is spelled Chamion @gmail.com. Okay, so guys, it was my pleasure as always. I hope you guys enjoy watching it as much as I enjoy putting it together for you all. Okay, until then, bye.